André Calantzopoulos, welcome to the Executive Talk.
Thank you for having me.
It's incredible. You have been working for the same company for over 30 years, 33 years. That's a mighty long time.
That's a long time, but it has been a lot of fun. I didn't actually see the time passing, because when you do great things, I think you enjoy it every day, and that's what happened with me. And I joined the company just after my MBA, and, you know, I tried to do my job as best as possible, and over time, I became to head the company.
Of course, you went through a lot of levels and you kind of climbed the corporate ladder. There are some people who say it's not that healthy if you stay that long in the same company. There can be sometimes something like a kind of a corporate blindness, that you don't see the spots where you have to act anymore. Do you see that risk as well?
Well, there is always that risk. But, you know, when you run a company, it's all about embracing change, in my view. And challenging your own assumptions. I think that the success of the past or even of today doesn't give you any guarantee about success in the future. So I think questioning the status quo is fundamental for any person that leads a company. And I think I'm lucky that I like change. So we've been through a number of those, and obviously the biggest one is when we announced last year that we aspire to achieve a smoke-free future, a future where people do not smoke cigarettes anymore, and either, obviously, for the ones that cannot quit, they switch to alternatives that are much better for their health and for the people around them. And we have developed a portfolio of these products. I'm sure we're going to talk about
Absolutely, that. Because it's quite unusual and quite extraordinary that a company like yours makes such a switch. We're going to talk about this. I'll just let me maybe get back to the point when you say that I mean, you challenge yourself. You have to be challenged as well on a regular basis. After 33 years, 32 years in the company and being the CEO, are you challenged by your team, by the people as well? Or is there a risk that they might say, oh, well, he's been here for more than 30 years, we can't tell him anything anymore?
I think, first of all, it's important that you are surrounded by people that can challenge you. Of course, it's difficult to challenge the boss in any company, but I think it's up to us all who lead people to encourage this type of interaction. I think what's very important when you run a company, and I don't think there is a big difference between large companies, for that matter, or smaller companies. You have to rely upon people. You are not on your own. And thank God you're not on your own. And you have to both challenge your people and let them tell you when you're wrong. I think my philosophy is when you run a company, you have to define the course, where you go. People call it vision, the company purpose. We define our purpose going forward as achieving a smoke-free future. Then you have to trust your people to execute the strategy and the organization. And bring the right people, because we always need, during change, new skills and competence in the organization. Obviously, we're moving from a product that is very well known and has not changed much for years, to a product that has science, life sciences, to do its scientific assessment that actually reduces the risk, that has technology like electronics and so on. We have much more digital nowadays, and we're not obviously the only company. So we need a mixture of new competencies that we need to bring in the company and existing ones that they need to retrain and adapt. And that's exactly what we're doing. But what I was trying to say is, for a CEO, we need, and the management team, the top management team, they have to set the course. But what is important is no change goes without challenges. And you have to stay the course, but not let your ego get in the middle. When you really see that your decisions are not bringing the right results, or when your people, more importantly, tell you, you know, André, this is not the right decision, then you have to change again and adapt. And I think I've managed to do that.
That's something that a lot of CEOs say and might claim, you know, that, oh, you can't have a big ego and you have to work with your team. On the other hand, being the head of a company with how many, 80,000 employees.
More than 80,000.
Can you do it without an ego? And shouldn't you have an ego to be able to kind of share all that load?
I wouldn't call this ego. I call you the ability to stay the course and take a long-term perspective. I mean, as you know, our days, we get distracted by a lot of short-term things. People obviously think of stock markets, but not only. There are many stakeholders that have short-term needs. So you need to know where you go in the long run. But clearly, you also need to read the signs, and not only from your people directly, from the entire organization, that some of your decisions were not the right decisions. And that's the right balance, because you cannot waver, obviously, every time there is a difficulty, or people tell you, we cannot do this, we cannot achieve this. No, we define, we go there, we have to go there. That's clear. But if in the course, you need to be humble enough to say, well, that was not the right approach, we tack again and we change. And, who am I to say that this is perfect in me, obviously, but that's what myself and my team are trying to do.
Has your management style changed over the years? I mean, you've been country manager for PMI. You've been in a lot of positions, and if you allow me to say that, you're over 60 now. So you're probably a different manager than you were when you were 28 or 30 or 35. How did it change, if it changed?
First of all, I don't have the impression I changed as a person. Okay, and I think yes, as you go up the ladder, you get this institutional power that the position gives you. But I think I'm the same person I was when I started here, at least in certain of my own beliefs and approaches to the world. I think management style has changes over time, obviously. I always say, if I knew 10 years ago, 5 years ago, all the things I know about how you run a company, which mistakes to avoid, I will be much better then. But experience comes with doing things.
On the other hand, it might have helped you as well.
It might have helped you. So, I think what I realize also with our transformation is our days, with technology evolving so rapidly, and with the need to take care of consumers on the spot, at the level of interaction with them and not at the center. Actually, if you look at many companies where people grew through the ranks, they know almost everything about what our product was in the past. But as we're changing, you also realize that in the new world, you cannot know many things. And that's where you need expertise and the ability to adapt your management style and not say, I tell you what to do, but I tell you what I want to achieve, and then ask the right questions and let the people find the answers because they have more expertise than you have. And that's probably one of the most difficult things to change, I think, for me and for my team, and I'm sure many other people that experience this disruptive changes in the world have to go through.
You are in a world of disruption and in a business model of disruption. Do you think that challenge might be something positive as well, in the way that you can actually change the business model around? You can, as you said, maybe you're going from a kind of a traditional tobacco company to a almost high-tech, a new economy, almost Silicon Valley style company. Does that help also in your management style, that you can actually bring the whole team to a different level almost on a different
absolutely.
ship?
Look, I think every day you realize how much you don't know. And everybody around the world, in business world, says things are evolving so rapidly that what you knew yesterday for sure may not be true tomorrow. So that's why you need to rely more and more upon the people that can tell you how to do the things and bring the right talent in, which is, as we all know in leadership, one of the most difficult tasks to achieve. Because changing the organization doesn't only mean changing culture. Actually, I don't think we change a culture of the company. We do change what we ask people to do, the context, the ways of working, and culture adapts naturally. Of course, you need some core values, ethical values, and others, but people change based on what you demand, and they need also a sufficient amount of external expertise be it through bringing people in straight in the company or new partnerships around us throughout our value chain in order to achieve this objective. So I think, yes, the transformation we're going through requires quite some substantial change internally.
You work in an industry which is heavily criticized for what they do. Mm-hmm. How do you cope with that personally, on a personal level, being criticized, having always to face, I don't know, the number of deaths per year, the number of illness, the number of health costs per year. Does that affect you personally, or is it just a job?
Look, I think when I joined this company, I think I knew already that cigarettes are not good for you, neither for your health.
You were a smoker back then, a pack a day, I read, is that right?
Yeah, a little bit. The reality is, I don't think it's Philip Morris that invented cigarettes or tobacco use and burning it, which is the problem. I think if there is demand, there has to be supply, and that, people have the ability to somehow choose, because if they know about the risks of the product.
But there is something like a stigma to come here, or to convince
there was a reluctance,
the scientists.
Because, unfortunately, in a very black and white approach, over the years and the tobacco wars and all the things we all know, I think we got to the point that, as I said previously, nothing that Philip Morris does can be good. So people put at risk their careers by joining Philip Morris, people from pharma and so on. And even today, you still have a lot of scientists that if they want to do research work that directly or indirectly and openly is financed by us, they get ostracized and sometimes fired. Mm. So there is a little bit of too much emotion, and I would say, emotion, not to use another word, in this whole thing. And I think time has come for all these things to stop. Everybody changes, companies change, and that's the message I'm trying to convey to everyone. Please, I don't ask you to trust me in what I'm saying, but can you please factually verify what we are saying? Look at the science, look at the data, repeat the experiments, and if you find something different, then you can accuse us. But you cannot pre-accuse somebody unnecessarily before you see, the actual facts. And move out of these ideological, politically driven debates. I think we're making progress, actually.
One way that you're trying to make a progress and to maybe get out of that corner is, as you said, a new product and that kind of new revolutionary approach that you don't sell cigarettes anymore. You don't want to sell cigarettes anymore, but other products. You even go as far as saying, well, we're going to be a kind of a smoke-free company because we don't want to burn tobacco anymore. We just want to heat it. That's a whole different approach, as we said. I mean, some might claim it's just a marketing thing. It's just something that it's a gag because they still want to sell cigarettes.
Well, people can say whatever. As again,
what did you tell them?
I'm coming back to the facts. Okay, first of all, we spend billions of dollars in developing and assessing these products. I mean, as you know from pharmaceutical companies, to assess a product, when you do preclinical and clinical trials in humans, this is a very expensive exercise. The second thing is we're really investing behind these products. I mean, if I just take the numbers of last year, these products grew very rapidly, but in total, they represent a bit less than 5% of our volume of sales. But they already represented more than 39% of our marketing expenditure, and we are not even present in many countries nationally, only in a few. And they already represented 13% of our revenues. We've put $1.7 billion of capital expenditures in building factories and machinery behind this product. So just a marketing gimmick, I don't think that is. And I think even if you look at the recent, overreaction, I would say, of the stock market to our announcement, there was a temporary slowdown of IQOS in Japan and the reaction. I think that's
IQOS
serious.
Is the name of that product.
It's the name of that product, yes. So I think we're extremely serious about that. And I think we will see as the months and years unfold, we will put everything we can behind these products. And I do hope that we will accelerate the switching of people. And as I said, if governments and public health people start shifting more rapidly their opinions and pass regulations that facilitate the switching, we can achieve this objective of no cigarettes very fast.
There are measures being discussed in Switzerland as well regarding advertising, for example. Do you hope with those new products that this will allow you to go on doing advertising, or is that a different discussion?
Well, look, I don't think we will ask, or it makes sense to go back to all kinds of advertising. What is important is to see what is the minimum level of communication you can have so you can explain the product to people. I'm not talking here about going on TV again, on radios, or all these things that people are worried about. We need to regulate this product. It is very clear that we need to make sure that there is no unintended consequence, okay? There is some concern in public health that these products, because somehow they renormalize the use of nicotine over tobacco, which I don't think they do, but that's a different discussion, they may induce more teenagers to start using nicotine. Or people that have quit in the past smoking come back and use these products. And these are all, I would say, legitimate concerns, but they're perfectly controllable.
Isn't it frustrating, honestly, that you always have to explain, and you're in, as I said before, I mean, you know, does it sometimes bother you or even annoy you that you're always in the kind of the seat where you have to explain yourself and you have to defend yourself?
Look, I think when you have a product like cigarettes, and, you know, that has known effects on health of people, you have to explain. You have to accept regulation. And you have to do, as I said, everything you can to improve the product. I think that's the most sustainable thing you can do. Now, many other companies have products that have impacts on human health or externalities, okay? I think it's natural nowadays that you explain. I think sometimes it's exaggerated.
So it does annoy you a bit?
Well, but that's okay. I mean, part of my normal way of being now. I mean, it's been part of the job. What is important to me is that we are successful with these new products, because that's for sure is going to help our business, and of course, is going to help public health as well. So I think it's time that we all put, you know, the war behind us. Because I think our intentions are extremely genuine. As I said, what we do actually demonstrates. And I think if we work together with people in public health and forget the acrimonies of the past, I'm very willing to engage with everyone. And, you know, again, we do not ask for free-for-all approach here. I think we have to be reasonable and have objectives with public health or government to say, you know, let's put these products on the market, because I think at the end of the day, consumers, men and women who smoke, have the right to have alternative products and know about them.
Completely different question. You've been in Switzerland for over 40 years. I think you came to Lausanne as an 18-year-old. You studied here at the university.
Polytechnic.
You grew up in Greece. I read somewhere that it was because of your father, who was a banker and who was a fan of Switzerland. Was that the reason why you came to Switzerland?
that played an important role.
Why that fascination with Switzerland? What do you like about this country?
Well, I like a lot of things about this country. I have a Swiss passport, so and as a company, we love Switzerland. We've been here since '57 with a license agreement, in '63 when we bought the Fabrique de Tabarini, so we have the headquarters here. What I like about Switzerland, I think it's one of the most developed, evolved countries. I think one of the countries with the most mature, I would say, civic society. And I'm very proud to be a citizen of Switzerland for that, to see how mature the population is when we vote or take decisions about things. From a business perspective, and I think a very good business environment, highly educated workforce, I think. Okay, for certain communities, as we all know, like digital communities, communication is probably not the most buzzy place on earth.
You feel that as well?
We need to work on this, I think, but when I talk to the authorities, they're aware of that. But I think it's a perfect country to live in, especially when you have a family. But even when I was a student, it was still fun, with 2 nightclubs in Lausanne at that point in time only.
Speaking about your family, and we started this discussion about being a CEO and being a leader and being consecutive, what that brings with itself. I read somewhere that for you it was always harder to bring your children to bed at 9 p.m. than leading a company. Is it still the case?
Well, yes. I mean, look, I'm trying to strike a balance, as many executives do, between the traveling, the requirements of the job, and the family life. I still have children that are still young, I would say, between 14 for my son and 17 for my daughter. So, and yes, it's true that, how can I put it, to have a bit of fun. I think when you are in the company, you are somebody. When you're at home, you are almost nobody.
Yeah.
But I love it. I mean, it's very nice.
You feel you're the leader in the company, but not especially in the family, is that?
Well, in the family, you're equal to the others, so that's a good thing. I'm trying to help at home and everything, do all the normal things people do. Yeah. After all, CEOs are normal human beings.
And how difficult is it to strike that balance, to really have enough time for your family? You're a family man, you say it yourself. Do you have enough time for your family, honestly?
Look, they will say probably not, or too much, depends on whom you talk to. I do, I think, okay, traveling is the traveling, but I think I try to do the right thing, to spend the right time with my wife and the kids. The important thing is not to bring the work in at home. So I'm trying to keep it out of home as much as possible. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I hope so. I hope for them.
Final question. When your predecessor talked about you, he said he's a man with a big intellect, who's very, very bright, who's got a lot of ambition, but who's got a heart as well. And he once said you should never start working thinking you'll become the CEO one day of that company. But being ambitious as you were, obviously, even with a heart, did you really never think that you want to be a CEO? Did it all happen by chance?
Well, I mean, I don't think when I joined Philip Morris, I thought I'm going to be the CEO. I think you have to be lucky and do your job, and it just happened, okay? Very often young people ask me the question, what should I do to take care of my career? And my answer to them is, do your job and don't think about your career. Because the more you think about the career, probably you will do some stupid things. Just go for it. And yeah, I mean, you need to do the right things. And as I said, have a little bit of luck to be in the right moment, in the right place. But I think most importantly is to question yourself and not to be afraid to take tough decisions, even if they're controversial sometimes. I mean, we changed Marlboro advertising, okay? It's never an easy decision to change things of this nature. But frankly speaking, I think careers happen naturally. You have to trust the companies you're in. And you have to trust the people that are above you, that they will see always the talent, if talent is there. And I think some people saw something in me, and that's why I got where I got.
André Calantzopoulos, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time, Urs.
Thank you.